Hello ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, bringing you some more StarCraft action. It has been a while, but finally, all of the leagues have started again. The MSL, the OSL, and the Pro League have all started up again. And if you follow the scene at all, you do know that we're hoping, we have our fingers crossed that all these leagues can actually complete this season due to Blizzard and the broadcasting companies and the KESPA and everyone having legal issues and IP rights confrontations and people suing each other, and we'll just hope that we can finish all of these series, all of these seasons. But getting to what this game is going to be from the MST, the Wildcard tournament. Now, over the off season, depending upon how much you've been following, you will know that a lot of teams, a lot of players have either retired or gone on to StarCraft 2, and one of the most notable of them in terms of recent notoriety and winning games is Effort. Effort actually has retired from StarCraft. Presumably, I would guess that he went on to probably go work on his college or something. That'd be my guess, as he didn't really want to play SC1 anymore and didn't want to make the transition to SC2. So that means that his spot in the MSL immediately into the round of 16, I believe, is vacated. So what this tournament does is to take some of the winners from the offline preliminaries, some of the better players in there, and pit them against each other in order to figure out who gets his automatic bid. So this game is going to be Cal in the top left, the Protoss player, versus Hero from STX. Yes, this is going to be a intra-squad battle, and the interesting thing about this is Hero's usually pretty good ZVP, and Cal is pretty good in all of his matchups as long as he's not playing Jaedong. He's a very good PvZer, but this is an intra-squad matchup. It's really hard to tell what's going to happen. I mean, if anyone remembers Fantasy versus Bisu in that OSL semifinals, can tell you right away, Bisu was a heavy favorite, and no one really thought that he would have too much trouble with Fantasy, and Fantasy just came out with an excellent game plan and took him down. And that's what sometimes happens in these battles, where two players just know each other so well, they know their strengths and their weaknesses, and sometimes they can play off of each other a little bit better than their perhaps superior opponent. So we'll see what happens here. Should be a lot of fun. It's a good matchup for both of these players, and I'm hoping for a really good game. Also in the Survivor tournament, there's 8 players. Cal and Hero are here right now on this map, Circuit Breaker. Other than that, we've got, in the next game, we'll have Hyuk and Stats, Midas and Roro, and then Violet and Bisu. So they're all best of ones to start off with. They'll cross-cancel out and get down to a final 2 players. And then those 2 will have a best of 3 in a final little tournament. So that's about it. Pretty simple. Shouldn't be too hard for anyone to follow. It's just basically a mini tournament going on here to take Effort's last spot. And yeah, I think that's about it. Let's get on to the game. It looks like we've got pretty standard openings from everyone. No one's going to go anything for a Ling run by or anything, thank God. Hero does go for a lot of early builds, but his early builds tend to favor Hydra play, a lot of 3-hatch Hydra, 4-hatch Hydra, that sort of thing. Mildly cheesy, but still, he is a very good player and pulls it off rather well, and sometimes he actually is forced to take it into a later game and does really well doing it. He has got some great ZVP. He has very good control of his timings, especially, more than anything else. And he is setting up his third base at the bottom right. Circuit Breaker is a 4-player map. Bases in the 4 corners of the maps, as you can tell, and then your natural expansions are headed towards the middle. And if you wrap around, you can see the edge of the base kind of as a cliff. If you wrap around towards, for Cal, it would be towards the top, and for Hero, it would be wrapping around down and to the right. There's mineral onlys there that they can take. At the cardinal positions 12, 6, 3, and 9, there are gas expansions. Kind of odd looking, like 4 mineral patches on one side, 4 minerals on the other side, and then the gas just being geyser in the middle. Kind of looks weird, but it works. So yeah, and then so kind of looks like each of the corners has 3 bases, and then you have the cardinal positions. So a lot of bases really to take. There are, what, 16 bases, and 12 of them are gas, so you can end up with some pretty big macro games on this map. Pretty wide open middle. There are a couple bridges that lead away from your natural expansion into the middle of the map, and a secondary route that I don't know if either player has revealed yet on the minimap. No. that it's kind of like a hill that goes right outside of your mineral only for each of the bases. So that's another thing to watch out for. Maybe a little bit more in Terran play, where you'll see a Terran player try and get on top of that position and try and attack down into a person's mineral only, which is really effective. I've seen that a couple times. So watch out for that. We could see something like that happen here as well for Cal, maybe to use Reavers or something like that, which would be very cool. But no, he's throwing down a Citadel Vadoon, so it looks like we're not going to see an opening of Reaver play. We've got a Citadel, +1 upgrading, as well as that Stargate coming down. So we're going to see a pretty standard opening here, and looks like we have a 4th hatchery coming up for Hero. And is there going to be a 5th? Where's the 5th? I would assume there's a 5th coming up at the 3rd base. I would assume Spire coming up as well. And Cal throwing down a couple more gateways, so it looks like we're going to see a +1 speed lot build here at the start. And what will Hero do to respond? Obviously he has no idea what's exactly coming his way, but you know, Zergs have gotten pretty good at fending off the +1 speed lot build. He sees the forges spinning, so he's got a pretty good idea that there's going to be some sort of a +1 attack coming his way, and he's getting his 5th hatchery at his 3rd base. He'll probably just SimCity. Zergs have gotten just so good at their SimCity and defending their 3rd bases, especially. As long as they get the timing right and are able to produce a few units to defend. You can see there's the evolution chamber. Sometimes you'll see a Hydralisk den either at the 3rd or at the natural expansion to help with that SimCity, and then a 2nd colony at each, and they'll be in fantastic shape, provided they have at least a few units to defend. Looks like Cal is going to get at least 1 Overlord here, and is he going to get a 2nd? Is he going to bother? Where's he going? He could go get a 2nd before the Scourge come, and they are coming. Will he get the 1 Overlord? Yes, he does. Now he's got to get home. Hopefully he knows that this is coming. And Cal I've seen do some really good micro against Scourge in terms of keeping his Courser alive, but there's nothing that you can do there. That was a little bit of a pincer movement there by Hero. Very, very nice. And taking down that Corsair. Maybe used 1 more Scourge than he technically had to, but altogether, still worth it. We got a couple more Photon Cannons coming up for Cal. He wants those just for in case Mutalisks come. Obviously, he's not in fantastic shape to fight against a Mutalisk build, but he does have the +1 Zealots to put pressure on Hero, and should the Mutalisk come, a couple of those cannons will at least be helpful. We do have a Hydralisk, a couple Hydras being produced now for Hero. He's trying to delay this +1 push while he tries to get his Hydra forces up and to really be able to defend it a little bit better. Looks like he was able to pick off another couple Zerglings is what he's trying to do, trying to keep those numbers low. He doesn't want to really get flanked too hard, so he's trying to just fight off these Zerglings, try and see if he can get an engagement, but he's not really able to do so far. And I think Hero really does have enough Hydralisks at this point that he's in pretty good shape, and it looks like these Zealots are going to go straight for the 3rd. There are some Hydras and the Lings there, and some Hydras coming in from behind as well. How will he be able to use those Hydras? He doesn't want those Hydras out in the field. They are a very small force, and you can see they're being he doesn't want them to be caught by those Zealots, because they will just melt without the other reinforcing forces. And it looks like Cal is going to throw down a couple more Photon Cannons at his front to fend off any sort of Hydra bust going on here, and still putting pressure on with these Zealots, but not really engaging. Probably very, very wise to not engage. This is not really a great position for him. There's just too many Hydras already being produced, and he really doesn't have much of a chance of it succeeding. Throwing down another Photon Cannon, that's almost a block there. I don't think Dragoons can get through there, so really only Zealots and Templar will be able to get through there, except for that 1 gateway which can produce Dragoons. So an interesting little decision there by him. And we have a Spore Colony coming up as well to defend his Overlords. Maybe worried about some DT play, and he is going in. Cal is going to charge in here, going to try and break this, and I think this could actually go very